Hey Hooligan family, welcome back. In this video, we're going to program our keyboard. So we're going to program the number 0 to trigger an animation on our Hooligan. So recap, we should still have our Hoolie playing on stage and doing an idle animation. You remember in the last video or previous videos, we grabbed from Mixamo idle animation and we applied it in a blueprint, and we applied it to our player character. Now we're going to go ahead and listen for a keyboard event, and then that keyboard event will trigger, in my case, I'm going to do a dance animation. So very simple, and the reason I want to do this is to get you familiar with the blueprint a little bit. There's probably some more eloquent ways to do what we're going to do here, but for now I want you to at least understand the blueprint and working in a blueprint and adding nodes in a blueprint. So first thing we need to do is listen for our event. So if we go to Edit, Project Settings, and scroll down to Input. So we want to receive an input. In this case, lots here, but just hone in on action mappings. Really let that sink in. Action. We're mapping actions that happen to do something in our game or our stage. In this case, we're going to add an action and we're going to call it dance. All right, very simple, right? Something we can remember and something relevant to what we're going to do. Now, what triggers dance? You can have lots of different things. It can be something on a gamepad, pressing one of the buttons. It could be keyboard buttons. It could be mouse buttons. Lots here. We're going to focus on keyboard and we're going to focus on the number 0. So just if 0 is hit, map that to the action called dance. And in a minute, we'll show you what we're going to do with dance in our player. But for now, you've captured the input in Unreal Engine. So when 0 is hit, it's going to want to use the dance action. Now, let's go back to our blueprints and we're going to open up our player character. So this is our Hooligan blueprint. And just familiarize yourself. You've been in this blueprint many times. We started by assigning our mesh here to our Hooligan. Then we applied our blueprint here. Remember the animation class that allows them to do idle. We would put our spring arm and camera and stuff in there. So this is the main player character blueprint. And I want you to click on this Event Graph tab. Now the Event Graph is where you add nodes and actions within Unreal. Quick sort of user tutorial here. If you scroll in with your middle mouse, you can zoom in and zoom out here. If you right click in your mouse on this, you can move stuff around. Now it doesn't make sense until we start getting stuff in here that you'll see what I mean. So let's create a node, or let's create an action. So I right click and I search for dance, right? Remember we created dance, that's our input action. So there's dance, that is ours. So we created this thing called dance and it's an input action. And when it's pressed, so the way this works is when you hold down the mouse over press and you just drag it out and let go, it looks for an executable action that you want to do. So just press, drag it out to somewhere there in there and it'll place a new node. So if you release, what we want to do here is we want to play an animation. All right, so play animation. And let's move this down, get this. So when the number 0 is pressed, it's mapped to the input action dance, and I want to play the animation, and I'll select the animation, so new animation to play. Well, there you go, there's happy idle. We don't want to play that, we're already idle. We want to play silly dancing. Now, we're not done yet, because what we have to do is we have to go ahead and delay. So we want to play that animation for a period of time. And so how long do we want to play that? And this is where there's more eloquent ways to do that, but this is relatively straightforward and simple if we look at the animation itself. So go back to your content browser and hover over the silly dancing animation. And you'll see in here, its sequence length is 3.86 seconds. So this animation lasts, and remember in Mixamo, we could have set that for a longer time, but in this case, we just, I think took the defaults, I took the defaults, and it's 3.86 seconds. So the reason that's important is when we go back to our blueprint and we're working on this animation to play our silly dance, we play the animation and we want to delay for 3.86 seconds. So it's like, play, do the dance for 3.86 seconds, and then what you want to do is you want to return back to your animation blueprint. So, and in the animation blueprint, it will play idle. So when completed, you want to set animation mode. Let's scroll out a little bit. This is where it gets helpful to be able to get it in the field of view. So right click and drag it all around. Center click or center mouse wheel zooms in and out. So we delay it for 3.86 seconds, and then we go and trying to move the mesh out of there. Delay it for 3.86 seconds, and then in animation mode we use the animation blueprint, which will basically take us back to that idle stage. So I'm going to save and compile this. And now if I go back in to our stage and I play, so there's our hooligan. And if I hit the 0 button for 3.86 seconds, he's doing his animation. Now he returns back to his idle mode. Now there's more eloquent ways to blend between those two animations. It looks maybe a little rough. He's kind of dancing, and then how did he quickly jump back to this idle phase? And we'll talk about some of that in the future. But for now, I really wanted to just focus on being able to get the animation triggered via your mouse. And you can try all kinds of animations. Go out to Mixamo and download a whole bunch. Like I said, I've got Happy, Idle, and Silly. Go and grab a whole bunch and go back and do inputs. You can do different numbers. You can use 0, 1, 2, 3, all of them. Use as many inputs as you want to put your hooligan on stage and start pressing buttons and have them execute those particular animations via the action. So hopefully that's helpful. And in the next video, we'll do a little bit more on animation and learn a little bit more about how we can get some functionality and some cool stuff into our hooligan that's on the stage.